What is going on, everybody? Welcome to your 87th and the last tutorial in Java programming, whatever I named it. And this is the last tutorial in Java programming because after this I'm going to start a new series, and it's going to be like intermediate Java programming. Because, I mean, we can only continue this beginner series for so long. There's so much Java to go over. So this 87th video is the last in this series. But after this, there's going to be like 50 more intermediate videos, hopefully, if I ever find the time. And also, after that, it's going to be more expert. I just can't have like 200 videos in a playlist, or else it'll seem kind of weird. So that's why this is going to be the last video in this series. But trust me, we're not done Java yet. And aside from this, my hardcore Java followers are probably like, alright, what happened to Java game development? I thought we were like halfway through that. Well, we're going to be continuing Java game development, but in the meantime, we need to go over some basics because we're going to be using that in our game programming. So, if you're wondering and worried about, alright, I want to get back to game development, trust me guys, we will build games in Java, but first, we need to learn some more basics. So, what we're going to be going over in this tutorial is a couple things about strings. And I know we talked about strings before, but we never really talked about all the things that we can do with strings. So let's go ahead and make a couple more strings right now. I'm going to name mine A, B, and C, and I'll set A equal to apples. I said a lot of things equal to apples. I just noticed that. String B, set this equal to Bucky, and string C, set this equal to Bucky, but making sure it's all in caps and spell it right. It's crucial. So now we have string A, B, and C. Alright, nothing we've never seen before. Now we already know a couple cool things that we can do, like system out print line, and we can get like the length of a string using a dot length. And let me just test this to make sure it works. Good. And now, there we go. And now we can see 6 right here. So, I mean, we already learned a few things, like how we can get the length using calling the length from the string class. But we can also do a couple more things. And the first thing I want to teach you guys how to do is compare strings. Now, it's a little different than you guys might think. So let's go ahead and make an if statement. And what you would usually do is if A is equal to this in whatever, whatever comparison you want using two equal signs. And this is how we learned to compare things before. But whenever we compare strings, what we need to do is we need to use the equals method. So here's what you do. Put A, which is apples, if this equals, and then in your equals you go ahead and write what you want it to equal to. If A equals apples, which it does, what do we want to do? Just go ahead and put system out, like, let's go ahead and just copy this. System out print line. It equals apples. Put that in a string. So let's run this and see what we get after we get rid of that. There we go. Run it and see what we get. And it says an error because I didn't use these two things yet, B or C, so that's why we're getting that. It equals apples, bam, so this worked. And if you're wondering, alright, you just told me to do that, but why can't I use the two equal sign? Well, here's the background for you guys who are just so curious. When you use the two equal signs, how do I say this? If two objects are identical, which means they have the same contents, but they're two separate objects themselves, then it's going to be false. And this happens a lot in strings. It wouldn't happen in this case, but it just can cause a lot of confusion. So with the two equal sign, just remember, if you try to compare with two equal signs and you kept getting an error, that means that you have, they could be the same object. They could be both set to apples, but if they aren't the same object, then it's going to be false. So that's why you always need to use the equals method, and that's why they built this method for only strings. If you're wondering, alright, why isn't this in any other class? Because no other class causes problems. What the equals method does is it compares the contents of it, and that's what you always want to do when you're comparing strings. So bam, that's that. And why did I have these two little things right here? Well, we can go ahead and compare these by just doing a little quick copy paste, and we'll put like if B equals C. This is just to demonstrate that that two strings without the same casing is different. So what do we want to write? Bucky's match. Right there. So if string B equals string C, which they're both Bucky, let's see what we get. Run, and it says Bucky's match. Nope, we didn't get a Bucky's match. So let's go ahead, and now we can see that, alright, this Bucky does not equal this Bucky. But what if we're writing a computer program and we wanted to like type their name or something, and we don't care about casing? Then how can we compare two strings with kind of forgetting about casing? Well, what we need to do is this: put equals, ignore, case, and now let's see what we get. And now look at this, it says Bucky's match. So again, what I'm trying to demonstrate is anytime you want to compare two strings and you don't want to have to worry about case, then what you do is put B dot equals ignore case, and it's going to compare your two strings just like before, but it's going to take the case of it and pretty much forget about it. Say just the contents of Bucky equals Bucky no matter what the casing, bam, as you can clearly see. So that's that for this tutorial, and again, like I said, when you're moving on from this tutorial, don't look for an 88th video. There's not going to be one. You are now ready to go to intermediate Java programming, and I'm going to be building the first tutorial of that next, and it's going to be a continuation of strings. So with that being said, I just want to thank you guys. You finally made it through. You learned so much Java in this series, and I cannot wait to see you next time. So don't forget to subscribe.